are terrain and diorama pieces on TEMU a scam? We're going to find out in today's video if that's actually true, whether or not TEMU is in fact a scam when it comes to diorama pieces like 3D printed and resin models for any diorama or any gaming mat that you want to do at home. Now, at some point in the future, I'm going to be building myself a gaming mat slash gaming board for me and my friends when we want to play Warhammer on tabletop. So I decided it would be a good idea to go onto TEMU to see if I can find some cheaper alternatives to the stuff that you can pay thousands for online. I ended up spending around about £65 just for a couple, I think it's about 7 in total, different things I've got in front of me today that I'm going to be testing and going through and seeing whether you can actually buy decent stuff from TEMU and it not be completely a scam. For those of you that don't know, TEMU is a shopping app where you can spend very little for multiple different products that you can find elsewhere. Now, whether or not anything that you buy from TEMU is in fact a scam is unknown to many people until they actually get it in their own hands. So I figured today I would do the exact same and test it on some terrain pieces that I'm actually going to try and use on my gaming board in the future. So let's take a look at the first thing I bought, which is this. Now it says here, it is a 3D printed terrain set, Corrupted Shrine of Namri's Chalice. Durable ABS resin, intricate miniature for tabletop gaming. Now in the picture you're going to see somewhere on screen right about now, you're going to see that I looked at this and thought, wow, that's actually a pretty big piece and, you know, fairly cheap for £10.61. I spent £10.61 on this. I didn't realise that it was going to be this small. I thought this was going to be so much bigger. I thought it was going to at least be, like the base be that, maybe about this tall for a big centerpiece of the gaming board. And it turns out that after all, it is basically a playable feature. It's a playable miniature that you can use and, you know, do whatever you want. Now, obviously, this isn't meant for Warhammer because it's not a licensed Warhammer miniature. But one thing I will say is that it is very good. The actual quality itself of this miniature is very good. And there is a lot of detail that's gone into this. You can see at the very base of it, there is all these, like, I think they're, by the looks of it, they look like candles. I think they are candles. That's pretty cool. And then just the detail. The detail that's gone into it all the way around it is actually pretty good. Do you know what? I'm actually going to say that I am not going to call this a scam. I spent £10.61 on this. When you think about that in terms of miniatures that you get from Warhammer, it's not actually that bad. And the fact that it's got, you know, a hand coming out the top of all these different hands that are kind of holding one hand together by the looks of it, and it's a chalice coming out the top. It is what it is. It is what it says it is on the tin. It is a shrine with a chalice, and it's for £10.61. I don't really know what else you want me to say about this, but do you know what? Not a scam. I scammed myself in thinking that this was bigger than what it was. It wasn't until I actually went back to the TEMU app where I found out this is actually the true size that it actually was listed as. I just didn't look along. I kind of just clicked it, added it to my basket and thought, oh, that would be cool for a nice centerpiece. It is actually meant to be this small. So therefore, the first item, is it a scam? No, I'm not going to say it is. Okay, so the next product is a Gothic ruin set. Now, as you can see now in the video shown before you, this comes in 2 pieces and is supposed to be designed and laid out just like this. Now, this thing did cost me only £8.56. Would I say that off of just the price alone, this is a scam? No. Compared to some of the other things I saw, definitely not. It's a decent size for a miniature gaming board. You don't need massive things. You can create different scaled buildings, you can create different scaled terrain such as like hills, mountains, you get the picture. In terms of how big you're going to be creating the board, you kind of have to keep everything roughly to scale. So some of the things I've bought I may not use in one of my gaming mats. I might actually build 2, but this is actually a pretty good size for what it is. Now it says here it is a Gothic ruin terrain building, D&D tabletop role-playing game accessories, plastic miniature, and scenario for TTRPG, tabletop role-playing game. Now, if you were going to be using this for, say, Dungeons and Dragons, it would most likely be the perfect size. For what I want to be using it for, I guess I could use it, but it's not going to be a massive building. If anything, it's just going to be an outhouse where I just say this was just a small building, or no one's really going to look into it that much. It's just going to be part of the table, and obviously I'm going to have to paint it because everything like this usually comes in this grey colour, depending on whatever they use to actually 3D print the models. But would I say this is a scam? No, I don't think this is a scam. I think in terms of quality, and design, I'm pretty happy with it. Honestly, I'm actually very happy with it. And I think you can do a lot worse on some other things for a lot more money. I feel like if you were to spend at least like 50 quid on this, for example, you would feel absolutely cheated out of your ass. So honestly, not a scam, pretty good. Okay, so next up we have this, which is a Ruined City set. Now this does come with 4 pieces, and for £10.87 for 4 pretty good sized pieces, I don't feel like I've been mugged off at all. I think this is really good, and the detail that has gone into this sculpt is genuinely incredible. Now you can see just in front of you now that this does obviously come with 4 pieces. It can be set out however you like, which I think is also pretty good. There's no sort of direct way in which you need to have these set out. I just think that for the price you pay for what you get is genuinely incredible. Like, I honestly don't think that I would be able to get this cheaper anywhere else. And the fact that it's this kind of quality for only £10.87 is genuinely incredible. Could you get better? Sure. If you're spending 50 plus quid per terrain set, then obviously you would expect better quality. But for TEMU, and 3D printed something that you're just going to use and just put on a board that you're not going to be looking at all the time, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Is this a scam? No. I honestly wouldn't say so. No. So 3 out of 3 so far. Pretty good. Okay, next up we have something which I'm pretty sure is by the same seller, and it's this. Now this is a ruined tower by pretty much the exact same thing. It's in one of the drop downs. You can sometimes choose which type of something you want, whether you want the ruined city bits and bobs, or whether you want the ruined tower. Now this one actually costs a little bit more at £12.74. Why it's more expensive than the other one, I don't know, considering it does actually come in 2 parts and you have to like fit it together, which I think the fact that you have to fit it together, if I can actually get it to go to... Oh my god, Charlie, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. You put the holes over the holes. We're not going to do that right now. We're not going to do that right now. However, we are going to look at the pricing and what it says it is. Okay, so it says it is a 28mm ruined house scene for role-playing games, perfect Christmas and Halloween gift for game masters. I mean, they're not wrong, really. And at £12.74, for again, the quality that you get with this item, I think you can't really go wrong. So it goes together and looks a little something like this that you can also now see on your screen. The only problem that you have with this is that you can't really put models on the inside. Not that you really would, because most of the time you're going to want your models around pieces rather than going inside of things. But you can actually put them on top and play with it on top. Only 1 or 2, maybe even a character. If you're going to put a character up in the top, then I can understand why. Again, quality from a 3D printed resin model, I like it. I think it's actually pretty good. I don't actually think we're being scammed out of this one. Again, the details across the entire model itself are actually pretty good. And for £12.74, I can't be mad at this. I genuinely cannot. And I don't think this is a scam. Not at all. Next up in my shopping basket was this. Now, this is tiny. It's one of those things that I kind of just saw and just added to my basket in flicking through. I didn't realize that this is actually meant for aquariums. Now, on the actual ad on TEMU, it says charming resin arch bridge aquarium decor, perfect for fish tanks and home ornaments. It kind of makes sense. It does. Would this be good in a diorama? Sure. I mean, if you have a massive base and a massive huge model, you could use this to scale the model to make it look even bigger. Say, for example, you've got a demon prince in one of your armies and you decide to put this on a base that you make up yourself. It can actually show through how small this is. In your head you think, oh, bridge must be pretty big, but that guy's absolutely massive. Well, yeah, because you're showing the size of it from this. So in that sense, I guess you could be a bit more creative and actually do it that way. But it's only £2.52. £2.52 for this. Do I feel scammed? Not really. Again, I scammed myself. I looked at it and thought, oh, surely that's going to be fairly big compared to what it is. £2.52, can't go wrong. I didn't think it would be this small. But again, I don't feel scammed whatsoever. Now I've actually looked at it, looked at this in real life, got it in my hands. It's good quality. It's weighty. Will I use this on my gaming board? More than likely. I'll probably put it somewhere and have it going across a river or something. Sure. Again, do I feel scammed by this? No. Scammed item? Not at all. The next thing I found was this. Now, this doesn't really show the best picture of what this is meant to be, so I'll show you on screen right now what it looked like on the TEMU ad. And it says this: 28mm, once again 28mm, miniature cemetery terrain set, 3D printed plastic scenery bundle with crypts, tombstones, fences for tabletop RPG games, compatible with role-playing game terrain building, gift for dungeon masters. Yes, this is in fact a Dungeons and Dragons terrain piece, but if you want to use something like this on your gaming mat, who's stopping you? Who's stopping you from having something like this, which you could then use as an actual, by the size of it, compared to some of the models and stuff, you could actually use this as a real building. When you put this next to a model, this kind of goes to scale, which is amazing, right? So when you think about it in terms of scaling towards your models, how the models are going to look around it, and how you're going to then implement that into your own design of whatever gaming mat, whatever gaming table you're going to make, it would look genuinely incredible. Now, this only cost me £13.61. For the amount that you get, it's basically a Lego set, right? For the amount that you get for £13.61, genuinely incredible. Once again, the same type of quality as the other 3D printed models. You genuinely can't go wrong. For £13.61, you've already spent, I mean, in this area here, I've still got one more thing to go through. For £65, you can have yourself multiple different points of interest on your map. And you've done it under 100 quid. Easily, materials all in all together. You're probably looking at in between 100 to 150 for a real good looking mat at the end of the day. But you've already got your main statement pieces in under 70 quid. I just feel like you can't go wrong with this. So is this a scam? No, not at all. And last but not least, we have these bad boys. Now, there are 8 rocks in total, and I think by the looks of it, this is not 3D printed, I don't think. I think it's just a resin mold. Once again, I looked at the post on TEMU, and it was one of those quick ads that I just put into my basket and just hope for the best and thought, hey, these would look great on my gaming mat. Didn't realize the size that they would be. Now, obviously, yes, in terms of putting them next to your models, they're probably not going to look that bad. Would you want these as like a main statement piece? Sure. You could have them as literally coming up like a hand, or like Stonehenge if you so wanted to. Do I feel like I've been mugged off with these? Do I feel like these are a bit of a scam? For £4.38 for this amount of models, do I feel like I've been scammed? Not at all. Not even in the slightest. £4.38, and I've got an extra statement piece on my gaming mat that I can use as a point of interest, where maybe it's like a game of domination where you have to try and hold as many objectives as possible for long as possible to gain CP. I just think this is a great idea in terms of what I can actually have on my gaming mat and how I want to place it. Am I going to be gluing these down in certain areas? I'll decide whether I want to actually glue these down when I actually come around to making the gaming mat. But in terms of what you've got here, for £65, do I feel scammed? No. Is TEMU a scam? Not for terrain pieces, I wouldn't say. I think, honestly, you can find some really good deals when it comes to building out your game mats that you can have for not even just Warhammer, for Dungeons and Dragons, for any tabletop wargaming situation. I think TEMU is genuinely a really good spot to actually find some really good deals and actually not waste a lot of your money and get some good painting projects as well in terms of it. I mean, when you look at this, whoa. I mean, take this for example, okay? Cool, incredible painting project. Even if you just wanted to use just this from the 4-piece set, the things you could do with this, you could actually paint this up, right? You could put this in a fishbowl. Lost City of Atlantis. I'm kind of battering on now, but you get what I'm getting at. For the price that you pay on TEMU, after all, not a scam. Genuinely not a scam. I don't think anything here is a waste of money. And that's going to bring today's video to an end. If you want to see more content from me, click one of these 2 videos here, and I'll see you over there. See you then.